Hey guys, welcome back to Batch Chats with Elmo. Let's get into this episode, the long awaited, anticipated information that we all have been waiting for. I'm so happy to announce my first announcement that Queen Victoria has left the building. As always, feel free to leave comments. There will be some questions throughout that I would love to get your feedback on, so feel free to like, subscribe, and drop comments in the comment section, and I'll be sure to get back to you guys, and let's just start this conversation. So we all know that at the beginning of the episode, this was kind of coming into the night before rose ceremony, and pretty much the vibe was, still nasty, still old versus new. And I think we haven't seen this in Bachelor history. I think for Matt, this is a lot of firsts that we've seen just in general for Bachelor Nation in general. Matt is just amazing. So, the night opened up and pretty much, there were some flashes to Anna. There was also some flashes to Victoria as well. Anna basically dismissed and said that she didn't give an F about the new girls and about what was going on. And there was still kind of this bitter, salty behavior kind of happening. And then as we all know, Matt came in and made a speech, which I think was very much needed. And we all, if you've been watching The Bachelor for years, then you know that there's always cattiness that goes down in the house. And it's always been upon the Bachelor or Bachelorette to address it. And as far as bachelors go, this is the first time I've actually seen a bachelor listen to the ladies. There's been drama before, and that drama was reported to previous bachelors before, and they were just kind of like, I like the girl, so can't be all that bad, and just decided to pick that girl and figure out where their relationship landed. And I appreciated the fact that Matt came into the night and said, hey, I'm not going to tolerate bullying, and these are not traits that I see in my future wife, so please stop. Child, when a man speaks, because after Matt said that, the apologies that came were quite ridiculous, and agreeing with Ryan, they were not genuine at all. Anna knew exactly what Matt was talking about, and she knew that some of the drama was directed towards her. And she was scared, as she should have been, as she has been for the last couple of rose ceremonies, because you're not there for the right reasons if you're that nervous. And so Anna tried to be a mean girl, and guess what? It didn't work. It backfired in her face, because next thing we know, we look up and Anna's going home. And she should be going home for bullying the other girls. Matt talked a lot about making a safe space for the women, and I agree that he should make a safe space for the women. They should, not feel like they have to watch their back. But I think in, the previews that we saw and everything, that the drama will continue. If it's one person's a target this episode, it's just like the next episode, who's the next target? And I hate that it's like that, but it is what it is, and this is Bachelor. So the next big thing that I wanted to talk about was Victoria actually apologizing. And I said,
Victoria is apologizing.
Since when? We know Victoria has been a bully since day one. She's been a bully since day one. She's been mean since day one. And quite honestly, I think there was this banter that went back and forth with the girls that we didn't see, that some of them actually really liked Victoria. But I think, to Matt's point, sometimes too far is too far. And I think even he knew that she joked around and stuff. But I think once he watches it back, he'll actually see how nasty of a person that she was. And I think that was also echoed on her exit as well. So I just can't see a man like Matt liking someone with the characteristics and personality traits, at least from what we saw on the show, of Victoria. And this episode quite showed it. We know that Ryan went to go talk to Matt and said that Victoria called her a hoe without even knowing her for 5 minutes. And it's just not right. And so when Matt sat down with Victoria, he confronted her about it. And she was just being so sweet when they first sat down, yeah. I'm like, sis, don't try to kiss up now. Don't try to be nice now. Don't try to issue out apologies now. Because guess what? We are almost halfway through this thing, and we are not here for it, okay? You've showed us who you are. You even got Anna tied up. Poor Anna got tied up in the mean girl thing. didn't work out for her. And then guess what? In the end, it didn't work out for Victoria either, because I thought it was important that Matt, he actually stood up to Victoria and said, in what way, shape, or form, in what context, is it okay to call somebody a hoe? And guess what? She was on hush mouth and had no words. No words. And so I just think that Victoria, this is a long time coming, and her ass should have gone home. And I hated the fact, well, actually, let me take that back. I don't hate the fact. I'm glad that Matt actually saw her for her true colors as she exited. She is crazy. She's absolutely crazy. Even when she went to confront Ryan about talking, which you shouldn't go and confront someone else about what conversation they had with Matt, even if your name was brought up, because guess what? That's none of your business. And so I feel like Victoria, she just was just very nasty, and I'm glad that she went home. So good riddance. And I thought that it was also interesting that Victoria seemed to not think that her behavior was toxic or bullying any of the other girls. How do you not think that your behavior is toxic or bullying, Victoria? That's what you've been doing this entire time. You've been bullying people, and you have a really like toxicity vibe, energy coming from you. Even on the beginning of the episode on the walk with Kit, I mean, she said the girls were disgusting. Were you kidding then? Was that taken out of context? I mean, help me with the context, because you have a funny way of saying what's taken out of context and what's not. So anyway, needless to say, I'm glad that we can move on, but at the same time, I still feel like there's just this constant need for drama, and I'm just like really not here for it. Like, can we just get to a peaceful state? Can we, please? I think in the rose ceremony, when Matt gave Brittany and Ryan the first roses, he, I think it was echoed on the show that he basically set a clear message. He was like, hey, I'm not here for the bullying. I'm not here for this negative energy that you guys have going on in the house. Like, be friends, be kumbaya, respect the fact that Matt is trying to find love and that you're trying to find love, and respect that relationship. Just because you're, dating other people, he's dating other women, you may not necessarily agree, but at least respect the process. And so I think Matt made it very clear when he gave out the roses, like, hey, these are the two women that I spoke to tonight that were directly impacted by the bullying that was going on in the house, and we're not going to stand for it. And I applaud Matt for that. I was sad to see Lauren and Mari go home. You guys know I was Mari's like big fan. It was unfortunate that I know some other folks went home too, but these are the two people that I was kind of sad to see go home, but it kind of is what it is. I think we're going to continue to see people that we like go home that are not necessarily forming relationships with Matt, and that's just the way of the show. All right, so let's talk about Rachel's date. So Rachel got the first one-on-one. I don't really think there was really a lot to discuss about this one-on-one. I mean, we basically know that Matt likes Rachel and that she's kind of been hanging in the background for a while now. Is saying that like, hey, like I really am here for the right reasons. I'm here to get to know you. You guys, like, although there was not really a lot of necessarily quote unquote drama with Rachel's date particularly, I was on Twitter during the airing of this episode. Oh my gosh, I found out some stuff that is mainly alleged, but I kind of can't believe it. So obviously while watching the show, it was kind of mentioned that like on Twitter, like as I'm tweeting about the show, that there's a rumor going around that Matt ends up with Rachel. Now, before this episode, like I didn't have a problem with Rachel, and I still don't necessarily directly have a problem with Rachel. I just was a little saddened and upset about some of the alleged rumors that have been going around. So it's alleged that Rachel is from Cumming, Georgia, which I actually live in Georgia, and Cumming is not the most, doesn't have the best history, let's say. People talk about a lot of people from Cumming being racist, and that's just like some alleged things that people were saying on Twitter. There was also like a TikTok video going around alleging that Rachel in high school said something about like, I guess her white classmates dating black guys and how she made fun of them and just all of these things. And I think there were some people going back and forth saying that, that was in high school. She's a grown woman now. Like, I think Rachel's like 24. So it was about 6 years ago that she was in high school. So not that far off. But yeah, there's just a lot of alleged rumors going around that like Matt chooses Rachel and that Rachel is like racist and all alleged again. Like, I'm putting it on an alleged band-aid on this whole thing because, to be honest, I tweeted like, I hope that that's not true. Some people were saying that she was related, not related. Some people were saying that she was affiliated with like Trump supporters allegedly, and there's just like all of this alleged stuff going on with like her and being racist, like, and like maybe it's the town, maybe it's her family allegedly. I don't know. But I was really upset and I was like, I'm really not going to be here for it if I find out all these things about her. But in that research, I also saw an article that was put out that had said that Matt James was also, which is nothing wrong with being registered as a Republican, but said that he was a registered Republican as of last year. Now, not to get political, but I'm just saying, like, this is just interesting. It's interesting news to like find out. And again, like, we don't know who he ends up with. But it brought up a point in my mind. I also listened to the Bachelor Nation podcast. And I think I remember Rachel Lindsay asking Matt about like something around interracial relationships. And like, I just remember him like defending it extremely hard. And as he should, because he is the product of an interracial relationship. I mean, if his parents didn't get together, he technically wouldn't be the Bachelor and he wouldn't be here. So like, I get it, but it's going to be interesting to watch and figure out like what happens with Rachel, because I kind of feel like the only two women that Matt has kind of said like, hey, what's up? Like, I'm on the same page with you and I feel what you feel is Rachel and Michelle, at least right now. Maybe Abigail a little bit, but directly Michelle and Rachel for sure. He said that to them in this latest episode. So yeah, again, I think those are all like alleged until we get some actual proof, because like outside, I mean, anybody can make a TikTok video, not saying that it's not true, but I need clarity for real. So we'll see what happens with that. But otherwise, I mean, I don't really have anything negative to say about Rachel as it pertains to what I've seen with my own eyes on the show. I like Rachel, so I hope it's not true, but yeah, I just hope the truth comes out either way it goes. So next, talking about the group date. So the group date, we know that Kit got the one-on-one, so they went on this random like farm group date. I was not about it because I'm like, 1, I don't shovel hay. No, 2, I don't work on farms. 3, I don't like the smell of poop. Nah, Matt, that wasn't the move. I don't care how much of a country boy you are. We not doing this farm. Like, we are not doing the farm. But anyway, needless to say, the girls did a farm date. And I thought it was, like, the only thing that really stuck out to me in that, like, farm date was, like, him and MJ. I saw them getting a little closer, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, Matt and MJ getting a little snug. All right. But MJ was, like, throwing an egg or something with Matt, and then he ran. And literally ran into the arms of another woman. He ran into Piper and they kissed, and I was like, what is going on? Like, is Piper and Matt? Like, what is going on? So that was interesting to see because like we haven't really, I mean, we've seen a couple of conversations with Matt and Piper, but not that many. But if I was MJ, girl, I would have run after him. You don't let your man run into the arms of another woman, girl. I would have been right on his tail, like boom, boom, boom. I don't know why she stopped running. That was like my only like, girl, you better go get your man, girl. I would have walked right over there and said, excuse me, I'm taking him. And walked on. Girl, MJ, you better have on your running shoes next time. So anyway, they kind of transitioned into the night portion of the date where for the first time, well, at least that I saw, Matt is actually, like, this episode was everything because of the simple fact that Matt was stepping up in ways that we haven't seen other bachelors step up. This and Matt himself, like I think he's just learning a lot with the girls and like all the drama. So I like that during the night portion of the group date, Matt actually said, "Can I borrow you for a second?" And he spoke up first and he grabbed Chelsea. But it was the fact that the majority of the time it's been like, "Matt, can I grab you? Matt, can I grab you? Matt, can I grab you?" And he's finally saying like who he wants time with. So I thought that was nice to see him kind of like get comfortable. And I actually was surprised that he grabbed Chelsea first. Not to say that they don't have a connection, I just was surprised. And so he grabbed Chelsea, and Chelsea is one, she's gorgeous, but she has like this awkward black girl energy that I can kind of relate to, where it's like, you know, she's like shy around guys, and I don't know what it is. She just seems like extremely genuine. And how can you not love Chelsea? Like she's great. And so I liked their conversation, and it just seems very natural. Like they just seem very natural with each other, and whatever Chelsea's dishing out, Matt is eating right up. So yeah, I love them. We also saw Matt talk to Abigail. Oh, Abigail. Like, we love Abigail. Like, we are team Abigail here, okay? Like, I love Abigail. She is so sweet. And she was very like transparent with Matt about her kids potentially being deaf if, you know, they were to move forward in their relationship and she were able to have, you know, if she was able to have children. And it was refreshing to see, like, again, real conversations, because, you know, there's always this constant struggle with us saying like, "How are you doing? Oh, like you look really nice today," versus saying things that are like life impacting and seeing your life with someone post The Bachelor. So thank you, Abigail, for having a genuine conversation with Matt. And she opened up, and she obviously got the group date rose, and that was well deserved. And I love Abigail. Now, whether or not I see Abigail with Matt, that's a different story. I don't know, like, not to say that she's not a good person or that she is like there's anything wrong with her, because there's not. Like, she's amazing. But do I see Abigail with Matt? I don't know. Like, I honestly don't know that they're necessarily a good match. Like, they're not a bad match. I just don't feel it, at least from the TV screen. Like, I just don't feel like that is like his person, if that makes sense. Like, I just feel like some of the other women in the house have a stronger connection with Matt, and we can kind of feel the electricity. So yeah, we love Abigail, and whether it's with Matt or someone else, I hope she finds love at the end of the day. So the last person that Matt spoke to on the group date was Michelle. Like, I cannot separate Matt and Michelle. It sounds good, it looks good, it feels good. Like, it's just like, well, I could watch them on TV like for a whole hour. Like, they're amazing. I love that Matt came out and said, you know, what you're feeling, I'm feeling too. Again, he's only said that to two women. He said that to Rachel, and he said that to Michelle. He hasn't really said that to anybody else. You guys, pay attention. So, you know, he let her know, like, I'm feeling what you're feeling. And I don't know about you guys, but they shared this intimate kiss and snuggle. It was like a snuggle. Like, I don't know. It felt like he was at home and like the cameras weren't even there. Like, they kissed, and then he kind of like put his ear like near her lips. And I don't know if she was telling him a secret, girl. I don't know what she was telling him, but whatever it was, he was liking, because his eyes, like, you know, lowered, and it just was a beautiful moment to see. Like, I just felt it was spicy. It was spicy, subtle, and sweet. Like, we love you, Michelle. We really do. Yeah, Matt and Michelle, spicy. Like, I love their connection, and I feel like it's spicier than him and Rachel's connection personally. But I think that he deeply likes both of them. Obviously, they're two different women for different reasons and values and families, and there's all kinds of things that make that determination. But Matt and Michelle's connection is hot. Okay. So Matt also spoke to MJ. And I feel like it's just like more drama on top of one on top of the other. And I know and I feel why Matt is exhausted at the end of the night, because it's like, one, you're having all these conversations, and two, and it's like you're dealing with drama. It's just, it's a lot to deal with. And so he had a conversation with MJ, obviously, like, hey, like, how you feeling? How you doing? And then mentions to her that Jasenia said you were one of the people that like was kind of acting as an antagonist in the house. And I think MJ was caught off guard by that. And as we know, there's kind of like this big kind of drama now between MJ and Jasenia. But like as MJ was talking to Matt, I don't know if you guys also caught this, but normally what we've seen from Matt is if girls are talking to him and another woman walks up, then it's the woman speaking up saying like, can I get 5 more minutes? And Matt kind of being okay with the woman speaking up about whether or not he wants to keep that time with them. And really, we haven't heard Matt speak up and say like, yeah, sure, come over, or like, I'll talk to you a little bit later. I don't know if you guys noticed with MJ specifically, when she was like, can I get 5 more minutes? When Brittany walked up, Matt was like, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Or he said like, I'll talk to you later. And I was like, MJ, girl, I don't know what's going to happen between him, Jasenia, and like all 3 of them in the showdown, but that was the first time I've ever seen him get up and like let another woman have time. That I just had never seen that before. And so that tells me, at least from what we know about him and like how he moves, MJ should be worried. You should be worried. And now like there's this big showdown between MJ and Jasenia. But let me just say, I think MJ is as guilty as all of the girls in the house. Who cares who started what is it, JV or OGs or JV versus Bar? Who cares who started that? Because guess what? If you're gonna blame the person who started it, you gotta equally blame the people who participated in it. And guess what? All the girls participated in it. Even Kit in this episode said, I apologize for my involvement in it. Because guess what? Even though she may have not started the term, she probably laughed at a couple of jokes, so she probably fed into not being as open with the new girls as she was the old girls. So it just was like, it was weird to me. I don't know in what context Jasenia spoke to Matt about calling MJ out about starting this JV versus Party, but it seems just very all kindergarten to me, because I'm like, all the girls were upset about the new women coming. Like, just because MJ single-handedly like came up with the term doesn't make her any less guilty than the other girls in the house that were laughing at jokes, having a little like, not attitude, but having a little like kind of behavior towards the new girls. Like, if you're gonna blame MJ, then you might as well sign yourself up too, because everybody was saying little comments here and there about the new girls. Who cares who started the term? You all participated in it, so just take responsibility for it. And that's the one thing that I can appreciate Kit. She actually took responsibility for her own actions and spoke up. I didn't like the fact that MJ didn't just fess up and be like, yeah, I started the term, so what? And like, I take responsibility for that. I think that was like what we were having a problem with. And also like MJ's this whole new thing about her being like harmony and kumbaya. Girl, please, girl. Like, we love you, MJ, but don't push it, okay? Like, no. Like, what are you doing? Talking about your harmony. You are not harmony, sis. Like, you tell it like it is. Just own up to that. Like, own up to that. So, like, now there's this big showdown between MJ and Jasenia. To be honest, I don't know where Jasenia and Matt's connection is. I know he was all over MJ about 5.2 seconds ago. So, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if both of them went home, because we are getting down to the nitty gritty, and Matt is like actually trying to figure out who he likes, who he could potentially fall in love with, and also who he is going to propose to. So like, it wouldn't surprise me if both of them went home. I love Jasenia. I think she's sweet. I like MJ, but I feel like MJ is just as guilty as everybody in the house. So, talking about the last one-on-one, this was spicy and exciting. So, Kit got the last one-on-one, and I have to say, the whole time I just loved their chemistry. Kit is a little bit on the younger side, but I think she seems probably more mature than some of the older women in the house, to be honest. And I just, what's ingrained in my brain and like burned and etched is, guys, did you see when Matt walked up behind Kit in the kitchen? Oh my goodness. I was like, whoa, it's spicy. Like, I don't know what you guys are cooking, but something is definitely on fire. Like, that was a spicy moment for me. I was like, yikes. Like, he really likes Kit. And I like their date, and Kit got the rose, and that's all good and great. But I do like their chemistry. I think there could be potentially something there with Kit. Again, my only concern is one, Kit is a little bit on the younger side, so like I don't know how that's gonna pan out. But again, she seems very like kind of mature for her age, so I'm hoping everything kind of pans out and works well for them. Oh, the last thing, before I jump into Honorary Rose, the preview for next week. Obviously, we see Heather drive up, and to be honest, Heather needs to get back in the car and go home. One, we're not here for any more drama, new girls in the house, and two, Heather, go home. Like, how many seasons has Heather come back on? I'm like, do producers just call her up and be like, hey Heather, we want you to come on the show, we're gonna pay you a certain amount of money to start drama? Like, what is this? Like, Heather's coming up again. I'm like, Heather, girl, this is not the time. Please get back in your car and go on home. We're not doing this. We're not doing this, Heather. We're not doing this. Producers really need to stop with the drama. There's already enough drama in the house, and then like you want to bring in Heather. Why are we bringing in Heather? Is she coming in to help Matt on a date? What? I don't know. What are we doing? Child, stop. Heather gonna be sent home. We're not doing this. Matt is too far along. We're not doing this. But anyways, I am excited for next week, and I'm hoping that, I don't know, I want to see Matt and Michelle more. And so with the closing, I think in this episode, even though it was like pretty tough, I think the honorary rose, even though she got a rose, I think the honorary rose would go to Kit. Just because, one, she owned up on her mistakes and her bullying in the house, because she wasn't openly welcoming to the new girls, but she did own up to her part in it. She also, didn't, at least from what we saw, didn't say anything more to Victoria about the girls in the house as they were talking outside when the episode opened up. And then also we saw Kit get the one-on-one. And so I just think that Kit also deserves the honorary rose because she owned up to her mistakes. She was a woman about it. She's, telling Matt what she wants. I feel like she's very present and she knows who she is. And yeah, I think Kit is a sweetheart. And I just hope that we continue to see the girls for who they really are and that the fake get exposed. Period. Okay? So thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you guys next week. Bye.